Yo, 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 what it do,
What's up,
everybody?
people? What's,
Welcome
what's
to a
good? What's good?
wonderful, what is today? Is today Wednesday? Today's Tuesday.
Today is Tuesday.
Welcome to a wonderful Tuesday evening. Some people might be watching this on a Wednesday or who knows, but today for us is Tuesday. And I totally knew that. Just
Yeah, of course.
um, a test? It was a test. That's what it was a test. It
You
was a
know what
test.
day it
We
is?
passed.
You know how you know what day it is?
Talk to me.
It's the day Jalen Smith got released.
Oh my God.
How could
So
you forget? How could you
let's talk
forget?
about it then. Yeah, so bit of a bombshell, we'll get into our week 4 recap here momentarily. But I think at this point we kind of have to start the show off by talking about the big news of the evening. Maybe an hour ago, if even that. Word came down. Adam Schefter tweets out
Mm,
Jalen got cut.
he got cut.
Jalen was released by the Dallas Cowboys this evening. The timing feels a little weird, man.
I just didn't see it coming. I ain't hear nothing. I ain't see nothing. Never got an inkling. If anything, I was hearing decent pushback, right? That like, hey, he's not that great, guys, but he hasn't been that bad, like right? Like he hasn't
Sure.
been as bad as people have been making it out, you
Mm-hmm.
know? I'm not heartbroken. I just it's just very unexpected.
No. It was. And I've tried to do a little bit of poking around, on the
The
tweet
interwebs.
the tweet box and various different sporting apps and things of that nature.
Yeah.
um it seems like it came as a surprise for most people. There really wasn't, to your point, a whole lot of an inkling of, oh yeah, this is coming and down the road. I think
Hmm.
there is a lot of people, myself included, that thought that this was probably going to be Jalen's last year with the
Hmm.
Cowboys. um but I don't think anybody was ready for last week to be his last game with the Cowboys. One thing that I've
I
seen
don't
that
think he do that.
yeah, for real. The only thing that I've seen so far, and maybe this will kind of be a wait and see thing, and we'll have some more information come out, at some point in the future. Um, the only thing that I've really seen so far that kind of would explain their move here is that, so when you look at Jalen's contract situation, seven
Yeah.
million guaranteed for this year,
Yeah.
right? Nothing you can do about that. He's on the team. He's paid $7 million this year. Next year, he has a $9 million guarantee, but only based off of injury. Right.
Hmm.
So if he were to get hurt this year and it would to be some sort of significant injury, they basically would have to keep him next year.
Yeah.
So if you've got, Micah, who maybe you're feeling pretty good about, being able to play more linebacker, with some of your players coming back healthy, getting back, good rotation. Golson looked good. We'll talk about him a little bit later.
Hmm.
Maybe you feel good about Micah being able to play off ball more like he did last week. Keanu Neal should be back next week, right? Maybe Jabril Cox is progressing. Hell, maybe J-Ron Curse and Donovan Wilson are both better than Jalen, right? And you'd
Yeah.
rather give some of those snaps to those guys versus giving them to Jalen. We
Yeah.
talked about that last week, some of those safety linebacker packages to try to get Wilson and Curse both on the field. Maybe this is what does it. So maybe it was just very simply the idea of, A, we'd rather give those snaps to somebody else, and B, we don't want to risk him getting hurt, if he's only going to play 15 to 30 snaps a night for us,
That's
right?
true. That's true.
Because then it hurts us next year. That's a
Yeah.
$9 million cap hit next year that you can't avoid if he gets hurt. So that's kind of the only thing that I've really seen that um, would kind of make sense. But I am kind of wondering if there isn't going to be more to it. I have no clue what that might be, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess we'll see.
I don't know. Off top of just maybe they're just going with making big boy decisions. Jalen doesn't really fit Dan Quinn's defense.
Yeah.
Doesn't fit what his linebackers need to do. You look
Right.
at any of the linebackers he's had in Atlanta, in Seattle. They just you you need to do a few things well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least yeah, no, you need to do a few things well, not even just passable. And Dane can't call the defenses that he he is calling them, but Jalen and Leighton to a certain extent are liabilities with certain things that they're asked to do. So not again, not like heartbreaking, just surprising at the timing.
Yeah,
But
right.
things make sense. I'm sure we'll hear more about it. The cap situation definitely makes sense with the injury
Right.
guarantee
Right.
that would kick in. So um, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Jalen will land somewhere. He was
Yeah, man.
playing. He was on the upswing this year with this play. He'll land somewhere.
Peace out, homie.
Right.
Let's talk about how we beat the
But the
hell out of the
boys that are
Panthers,
here,
bro.
though,
Yeah,
right?
let's talk about how we beat the hell out of the Panthers. We gave Jalen his 6 minutes of fame. Moving on.
Yeah, man.
Good luck to you, buddy. And I wish for everybody's success, but good luck, man.
Yeah. So 36-28 win. Number one
Mm.
defense. Got handled.
Yeah, they said they
Um,
were the number one defense.
hey, look, man. The game started out tight, all right, but the Cowboys really blew it open in the third.
Mm-hmm.
They hang 36 on. Again, we kind of talked about some of that stuff that yeah, they're the number one defense, but look who they played and
Right. Right.
this,
They
that,
hadn't
and the
played an
other.
offense yet.
Right. So
They certainly hadn't played Dak Prescott and Kellen Moore
right.
and Amari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard and Tyron Smith and Zach Martin yet. They certainly hadn't played them
Just
yet.
just an
Uh,
onslaught, man, and it just opened up in the third, and uh, they put the game away. Yeah,
mm.
defense got
Did
a
they
little
put the game
lax.
away?
Defense got a little lax. The offense did what they were supposed to do, man. They put up 20 points in a quarter. Um, the defense got a little lax, but you can see it in the calls. I mean, it was soft coverage. There's not too much pressure anymore. We were feeding off that momentum, right? Score,
Mm-hmm.
pressures,
Mm-hmm.
turnovers, score.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at it. So Carolina goes on a stretch with a possession in the second quarter,
Mm-hmm.
and their possessions go punt, end of half, missed field goal, punt, interception, interception. Right. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the defense comes out, right, and it's just, I mean, they're shutting them. They're shutting them completely down. Uh, and then it gets soft, right? The Panthers start the fourth with a touchdown drive and get one more score as well to make the game, a little closer, the score a little
Mm-hmm.
more
Mm-hmm.
respectable.
Mm-hmm.
But Diggs is out after the interceptions. With the what was that reported, back tightness, right?
Yeah, during the game they said player management, which
Right,
was really weird.
right. You'll never hear that in the
'Cause
NFL.
oh, well, and like you don't take the guy off the field that early in the game, and you certainly
No.
don't keep him off the field after one touchdown, and you absolutely don't keep him off the field after two touchdowns.
Yeah.
So then after the game when they talked about he was having some sort of back tightness, around halftime, maybe
Hmm.
got a cleat in the back, something like that.
Hmm.
Um, Made a little bit more sense. It sounded like it was still mainly precautionary.
Very.
They figured they were up, like you said, three touchdowns basically. So they could be, cautious with him and not play him and hopefully
Hmm.
still be able to keep that lead, which they ultimately did. Um, Let me ask you this though, because I gotta say I take just a little bit of issue with the idea that we put them away. Um,
Mm.
and I'll tell you why. I'm not gonna go on a rant like I did last week on McCarthy or
Yeah.
anything
Right.
like that. No, I'm not. I'm really not. I promise. It wasn't anything that egregious. Not this week. But there were a couple things. One thing in particular that I just wasn't 100% sure how I felt about it. So we get the three touchdowns in the third quarter, right?
That's right.
You're up by 19 going into the fourth. And then basically right on the other side of the quarter, at the beginning of the fourth quarter, we get that field goal, right? We go up 22,
Minute left. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
right? Like
Yeah,
a minute and a
right at
quarter.
the
Yeah,
beginning of the
right.
start fourth, we kick a field goal. That's right.
So here's my, and like I said, this is a small issue, right? And maybe it's just a fundamental difference in the way that I view things versus Coach McCarthy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what's the point in taking a 19-point game and making it a 22-point game? What's the point? 3 touchdowns is 3 touchdowns, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a 3-score game. Now, if I take that 19-point game and we go for it, on that because it was 4th and 2, 4th and 3, something like that in their
Mm-hmm.
territory.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a 19-point lead with 4th and 3, right? Or whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what it was. So I have two options. I go and try to get a 22-point lead, right? Which is still a 3-score game. It's still a 3-touchdown game, no matter how I cut this, right? Still a 3-touchdown game. Or I go for it on 4th down. My odds are pretty good. I have one of the best 2, 3, 4 offenses in the league.
So that was actually 4th and 1
4th and 1.
on the
Okay.
20 on the Carolina 20.
4th and 1. Even better, right? On the Carolina 20.
Yeah, they
So,
challenged. Oh, I remember. Yeah, Dallas
right.
challenged
Right.
that they
Didn't
were
get
short of
it
the
and brought
line,
the kicker out.
and then brought the kicker out.
Right.
You're saying you want them to go for it right there.
Right. Because the odds of going for it on 4th and 1, like analytics tell you, you have a better than 50% chance of hitting if you go for it, right?
Okay.
And even if you don't go for it, or if you don't get it when you go for it, so what? Carolina starts the ball on their own 20. They got to drive the field 80 yards, and it's still a 3-touchdown game. They
Right.
still have to score 3 times, right? Or 2
Yeah.
touchdowns and a field goal if they get the the extra points, I guess. But
Mhm.
either way, it's still a 3-score game,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, my only contention with the idea of we snuff them out is let my quarterback or my running back that went for 140 yards damn near, let him go get 1 yard. Just like you
Mhm.
did at the end of the game, right? Let him go get 1 yard and either run more time off the clock and kick a closer field goal or punch it in. It's 20 yards, bro. You in the red zone. You've been getting whatever you wanted the whole third quarter. We're going to
Mhm.
stop now because of 1 yard? No, you got to go make that a 4-score game.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Like I said, I'm not going to go on a rant. I'm not going to kill him too much. I think that's just a fundamental difference in kind of how we look at it. But man, if that's a more potent offense, look, we gave them 2 scores back. That ended in a 1-score game, right? It's an 8-point game. It did. We go get that touchdown, it's not a 1-score game, right? It's 40-28. They still need 2 more scores to get there. They need 2 more touchdowns.
Mhm.
That could have made a difference because they had the ball with an 8-point game.
Mhm.
That could have made a difference. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Am I crazy? Am I being nitpicky?
I don't know. I don't know if I think anything about that, to be honest. It never entered my mind that they needed to go up more there. Uh I think I'm okay with the sentiment that they felt like the game was in hand. Just kick the field goal and play defense. The defense had been rocking. The defense gave up 2 80-yard drives, okay, to end the game. That has to be a function of play calling. The Panthers had 840. Hold on, 40, 60. The Panthers had 80 yards on the previous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drives.
No, we
And
were
then we
taking
gave
care
up
of
2
business.
80-yard drives, okay?
But we know this defense, right? That could happen at any time. And if Diggs really couldn't go, like, yeah, I'm sure some of that was play calling, but that's the only guy you have back there. I need all of the points. I mean, Zeke even said it post game. He's talked about it in the locker room. He was up there saying, "Look, I think that that's the next step in the evolution of this team is when we have the opportunity to put our foot down on their throats, we need to do it. We have to snuff people out early." And he said it. He said, "I think we as a team, because we're so talented, that we have a tendency to get ahead and just kind of put it on cruise control." Zeke
Yeah.
said that. He
Yeah.
saw it. He was feeling that way. So I don't know. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna kill him now because it was a 3-score game. But look, we saw that happen in the Super Bowl a few years ago, right? We saw
Yeah.
what happened. Not that it's a common occurrence, but in this
Yeah.
day and age, I need every point. I need all of them.
I guess.
I
I
need all of them.
guess. I guess. I guess. I
But
get.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. But
I
it's a
guess.
Cowboys win, bro. It's a Cowboys win. I'm not
I.
gonna kill it. I'm not gonna kill it. I'm not gonna kill
Yeah,
it.
man. Nobody was like, man. They better put up some more points before Sam Darnold gets back on the field. I don't think
Hey, Sam
that
Darnold didn't
was
look bad.
in.
We made some really good adjustments in the third quarter, but he didn't
Yeah.
look bad in that game.
Hey, man. Credit to the Panthers. That's a well coached team.
Mm,
That is one of the best coached teams in the NFL. Straight up,
mm. I do like
it
Matt
is.
Rule. I think he's doing a nice job building the program out there.
Yeah,
Um, let's talk about some winners and losers.
man. Obviously, Cowboys are winners.
Yep, yes, Cowboys are winners.
Man, it's got to be. We got to be talking about offensive line here. It
Mm,
was because the game, where in the past there's been some outright dominance, right, and
mm-hmm,
expectation of
mm-hmm,
dominance. This
mm-hmm.
was a game where the Panthers came out and were
They got
aggressive.
they got a good front seven, and they
Yeah,
blitz heavy,
they
right?
were aggressive. They were
Mm-hmm,
hitting those gap, like
mm-hmm.
they were there before we even knew what happened sometimes. And
Yeah, that first half was a little bit chippy.
but the it was a combination. There was some great play calling. I'm sure you want to talk about that. There's just great play calling, great schemes, but
Mm-hmm.
the offensive line turned it up. They started getting very aggressive on the assignments. The play calls were there. They hit their blocks and they won a lot. I talked about
Mm-hmm.
being concerned about Derek Brown. I didn't hear his name called one time.
No, no, you really
You know,
didn't. And I mean, you had Hassan Reddick go out of the game for a little while. Shaq Thompson went out of the game for a
a
little
little bit of
while.
injuries, yeah.
But for the most part, they were in there. And Tyron and Zach specifically, really wanted to highlight them tonight, and not because they did anything out of the norm, right? They just did what they do. They're, if not the best, one of the best at everything at their position, right? Both of
Yeah.
them are. And you look, I went back and looked at some of to your point, some of the schemes and the play call stuff like that. And the way they blocked it up, Kellen Moore doing a great job. We'll talk about that in a bit. But specifically, just watching Tyron Smith, get to the second level and
Mhm.
just absolutely blow up Shaq Thompson, to take out those ends on both sides there, right?
Yeah.
And then Zach Martin. So Martin missed what, week 1, right?
Mhm.
So he's played 3 weeks. This week was the second time in 3 weeks that he was Pro Football Focus's top rated guard in the league.
Mhm.
So I mean, he's the highest rated offensive lineman, highest rated guard in the league 2 out of 3 weeks that he's played. He just did what he does, man. Zach Martin's a monster. Tyron Smith is a monster. And I just feel like because they, again, just do what they do, that we're almost at this point of like, we're like desensitized to what they do, right? To their greatness.
Right. The
you know,
expectation of that great line
they're
play.
just doing what they do. They're just
Yeah.
doing what they do,
Yeah.
but I felt like, we needed to give them a shout out. We definitely could have gone Zeke there with the winner for the offense. Could have gone Dak, could have gone a few different ways, but specifically Tyron and Zach, wanted to go 1A, 1B there. Man, my loser this week is Jarwin though.
Yeah?
And look, I know he caught the touchdown.
Okay.
I know he caught the touchdown.
Okay.
But that's the only pass he caught, right? So
Yeah.
one for 18, an 18-yard touchdown catch in the first quarter, which again, we'll kind of go over that here in a minute because I want to get into some of these ridiculous plays that Kellen is calling.
Yeah.
But look, man, there's a couple things that I'm looking at with Jarwin. We talked about this last week. Dalton Schultz is tight end 1. Dalton Schultz again led the team in receptions,
Yeah.
was second in yardage, only behind Coop. And I know Dak didn't throw the ball a lot this week, right? He didn't
22
have it
attempts.
right, and I think 14 completions or something
Yeah.
like that. So it's not like he threw the ball a lot, and there was a lot of opportunity. But still 6 for 58 and a touchdown from Schultz. And not only the stat line, but the dude fumbled like 7 plays in a row. He can't hold on to the
It did
ball.
it did get
Like,
ridiculous for a little
how,
stretch there. Like every hit was a fumble. Everything.
right. So like, if this dude can't hold on to the football
Yeah.
and he's still out producing you, and he still has the trust of his quarterback and his offensive coach and his head coach over you, you got to take an L this week, Jarwin. Good on you for catching the touchdown, but you got to take an L this week, bro. Like you just, you know, Schultz is tight end one. I think we're getting to a point where I'm pretty comfortable ending that tight end one conversation for the Dallas Cowboys. I think Dalton Schultz is your tight end one, and I think you just got to be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, the proficiency and the level of play from both of them,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's only one football, so I mean, maybe they're not going to have the same production or even comparable production, honestly, because it does look like Dak is just more comfortable with Schultz and um, is going to keep throwing him the ball, so that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, for the offense, what a luxury! It reminds me of when back in the day when the Patriots, obviously it's not that same level, but when Gronk and Aaron were playing together and just having two very good tight ends just opens up the play calling so well. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, sure, Jarwin can take the L, but I think we're just searching for someone to put an L on.
Yeah, right. Look, I mean, the offense is getting whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have put one on CD too, because he was pretty quiet on the game, only had a couple receptions.
Yeah.
I think he was under 20 yards, so he didn't do much there. But another thing that I wanted to talk about with Jarwin, even past this year, I wonder with that contract that they gave him a couple years ago, next year you save $4.5 million basically
Mhm.
if you cut him,
Mhm.
or you're gonna pay him $6.5 million next year. So I'm kind of wondering, is Jarwin a guy that we can look at as, hey, we got to clear up some cap space next year? Now, the only thing that I think that might hinder the Cowboys from doing that is if they can't re-sign Schultz on, a friendlier deal or a deal that they prefer,
Yeah.
right? If you could go and get Schultz on somewhere between 3 and 15 and 3 and 20, something like
Mhm.
that, right?
Mhm.
5 to 8 million a year, something like that.
Yeah.
I think that they may take that because Schultz will be a free agent after this year, so uh, just kind of something to watch for, to kind of see where they may go at the tight end position. It's just a interesting thing to take a peek at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I think it's a good problem to have. Jarman's not, terrible. So,
Yeah,
or a
if I
good
can if
problem
I
to
can
have.
have both of them like I have it this year, I want both of them, right?
Right.
Like that's for sure.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I will gladly take Jarwin and Schultz both. They've
Mhm.
both proven to be able to handle the duties.
Mhm.
I think Schultz is just at this point, a little bit more of a proven commodity and appears to have a better rapport with his quarterback.
Yeah. That's
Um,
not debatable there.
Moving on to defense,
Mhm.
we called it. We called for
Mhm.
it. We called for it. We said it at the beginning, beginning of the show before the preview, right? Talked
Mhm.
about Randy Gregory. Hey, is he finally going to get that first sack this year?
Yeah.
And he's been playing well. I don't want to mislead anybody and say that he hasn't been playing well the other two
Yes.
games that he's played.
Yeah.
He just hasn't had that sack
You're
yet.
not
He's
getting
had
on the stat sheet.
right. He's had the pressures. He's been making defenses, adjust to him. He's been winning some of his battles. He just hasn't been getting it on the stat sheet.
Right.
Uh, he got it this week, baby.
Yeah.
2 quick sacks in the first half.
Yeah.
He had 4 total quarterback hits, and he was in ex-Dallas Cowboys swing tackle Cam Irving's face all day
Yeah.
long.
Oh yeah.
And that was something that we talked about, right? That Cam Irving, at the left tackle position was going to be the spot that you really wanted to try and exploit. And I think the Cowboys did it wonderfully, and Randy Gregory did exactly what he was supposed to do, and he put Cam Irving back in Sam Darnold's lap again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
That dude is a problem when he gets going downhill.
The and they showed even during the broadcast. There's, Irving was just not playing. Just good technique. Yeah, he's getting, you know, when they were getting up the field, he's getting too deep. Gregory's just able to turn right back upfield and go past him. Right.
Right. Right.
Um, the problem on your left side doesn't allow the interior of your line, which was weak anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's confusing to have to pick up that pressure. Am I helping? Are they coming? Are they playing a game? And you started seeing it, right? That the uh the stunts and the twists started coming.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
Right.
you got a lot of, or not a lot of, sorry, but you got a few snaps where Micah was over the center, and I mean completely bull rushing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's jarring because we've seen him be so good, and then you see him with his hand in the ground, and you're like, okay, we've seen him come off the edge, we've seen him, do that. He's completely bull rushing. Like the ball was snapped, and he was getting held immediately because he's almost past the center, in the
Right.
guard already.
Right.
Um, they cause problems all day. I mean, like you said, we talked about it. It was a weak line. It was the fourth worst blocking line coming
Mm-hmm.
into the game. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
they're right still down there in the basement still after that performance. It was overwhelming, and Osa got in on it. Golston got in on it. Just I liked it, but Gregory definitely got the party started. Happy to see him
Mm-hmm.
get on the board. Get
Mm-hmm.
that swagger going, and just carry that forward. Defense, is just playing with so much energy. You can feel it. So it's electric when they're on the field right now.
Hey,
So
you can give up all the yards in the world, baby. Just keep taking the ball away.
it's electric. Who's getting that L on defense though?
We're gonna say, you know who's not electric?
Mm.
Leighton Vander Esch.
Mm.
I know.
Boys, powers out.
And I really hope that this doesn't turn into a trend, right? Because last week Jalen was the guy that took the L.
And you got him cut.
Yeah, right, right,
You got
right.
him cut.
Like Jerry, you don't have to cut
Jera,
Leighton. You don't have
please,
to. You don't have to cut Leighton.
please, Jera.
We do still need some depth. I do still think he provides some value, but he just. I don't know, man. I called it out a couple times during the game, and we were kind of messaging back and forth
Yeah,
that it just seemed like you know he's getting blocked out of plays, right? He's not coming downhill. He's not filling any of those gaps. There were a couple times where you saw on the other end, a guy like Shaq Thompson that just right
right.
through, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
A couple times he got taken out the play, but that's because Tyron Smith is a monster.
right.
But Leighton is you just didn't see much from him. You didn't really feel an impact. And one of Leighton's biggest strengths coming out of college that people always talked about with him and why he could potentially be a good modern linebacker was that he's a good pass protector or pass defender.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Was not great in the passing game, man. There were a couple times where I just felt like he kind of was getting caught in between, and
He's in no
I
man's
don't.
land.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe they were kind of playing a little bit of a spy on Sam Darnold or something because he was running in the first half. But there were just a couple times where it was like coming across the middle of the field. The Cowboys are in man coverage, right? And you got the running back or somebody, right, coming across the middle, and that's Leighton's guy. And he's kind of peeking in the backfield, and then the ball gets thrown over his head, right?
Yeah.
Because he's not up, he's not back. It's like, where is he at? What is he doing?
Hmm.
So I mean, I'm not gonna say that it was just like an outright atrocious game from Leighton and he made all these mistakes,
You
but
just
he
got to
just doesn't
find some
look good.
business. Yeah, you got to
He just
find some
didn't look
business
good.
out there.
It's just back to that conversation of look, when Keanu Neal comes back, man, you got Parsons, you got Neal. I think you got some combination of Ron Curse and Donovan Wilson
Right.
and Jabril Cox, who we really
Right.
haven't seen, right?
Right.
Uh, I just
It's gonna be hard to get him on the field.
I just don't know. We talked about that with Jalen at the beginning of the season, right? I asked you the question when we were talking about that before the season started. What does Jalen do better than anybody else on the roster?
Nothing.
What does Leighton do better than any of these guys? Like, what does he definitively do better than any of the other linebackers we have?
Nah, man. I
He's
mean,
not a
look.
better run player. I don't know that he's a better pass player, which we kind of thought he might be.
Yeah.
He knows the defense, I suppose, so he can call plays. But I mean, when Micah's lining up off ball, he's doing a lot of the play calling. They already have that instituted week one. So I just don't know why. Why?
that knowledge that he has to translate into better positioning and decision making on the field, because he's not the
Mhm.
athlete he was when he came into the league.
Mhm.
And he is, the backs and the tight ends and even the slot receivers. I mean, it's so good now. In the NFL,
He just looks slower than everybody
he's slow.
else.
Exactly.
He
He
just looks
doesn't. He
slower.
does not look like he's the same class of athlete
Right.
as the people he has to cover.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
unless right, it reminds me of Sean Lee. Right, but Sean Lee is extra cerebral on the field. Right. So
Mhm.
I'm in the right place.
Mhm.
Right. Um, unless he starts doing something like that, I can't justify keeping him on the field any kind of meaningful amount of snaps. He may still play,
Yeah.
but
I
he's not going to
mean,
be any meaningful amount of snaps.
if you tell me he's going to be on the field like 20 to 30 snaps a
Right.
game so Micah can go rush the passer and you can give the other linebackers a breather, I'm okay with that. That's
Yeah.
all right.
Hmm.
Uh, but to your point, like I don't really want anything more than that.
Yeah.
Again, if you're telling me the trade-off is that Micah gets to go rush the passer, then I'm probably going to be okay with that more times than not.
Yeah.
Because I want Micah rushing the passer. I'm
Yeah.
fine with them moving around, playing him off ball, but I want him rushing the passer.
Yeah.
Um, Man, let's chat about some of these youngsters though.
Hmm.
You kind of highlighted a couple of them already there, but uh, man, the youngsters on this defense showed out this week.
It's who was it? I can't remember who it was. I was listening to the fan. I don't remember who said it,
Mhm. Mhm.
but
Mhm.
they talked about it's like you got to pinch yourself because so this is your dream, right? That you pick all these young guys, and on draft day, everyone's like, "Man, if everything hits, if
Right.
this guy hits,
Right.
and if
Right.
this guy hits,
Right.
then the sky's the limit."
Mhm.
We even said it in our one of our first broadcasts that
Mhm.
hey, the offense is going to be elite. The story of the season is going to be how quickly can the defense play some meaningful football.
Right.
The expectations are rising quickly because they look so good, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard to hold back.
Yeah, third
The
round rookies are not supposed to look this good 4 weeks
no,
into
man,
their career.
no,
First round rookies aren't supposed to look as
and
good as Mike is looking right now,
and not
basically
only
day
and
one.
not only do they look good as a unit, these guys, Diggy, Parsons, uh, Trayvon, they're at the
Mm-hmm.
top of list at their position, right? Like
Yeah.
top 5 in
Yeah.
not just advanced metrics too, right? I mean, Diggs is leading in picks and passes defended,
Yeah.
and
Trayvon
Gray and
Diggs.
every meaningful stat that a corner can have.
Tra-
It's ridiculous.
Trayvon Diggs has more interceptions than like what is that? I think it's like 26 NFL teams.
Yeah.
One guy.
And I mean, it's
He's got more than like 2/3 of the league by himself.
Golston.
That's insane.
Golston had no preparation. He got drafted.
I
He's
got hurt.
he's been hurt,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
This was what
And
his second
then
week back.
he comes into the game and immediately has an impact. Now,
Right.
part of that is just the discombobulation of the Panthers offensive line. That's not
Mhm.
good.
Sure.
But
Sure.
hey, no better way to, get back in there than to have some
Right.
success.
Hey, what do we talk about? We just beat the people that we're
Right.
across from, right? That's the matchup. They
So,
told me to go beat up on that bad offensive lineman. I don't know
you
what to
know,
tell you. Talk to Goodell about it. They
Diggy,
asked me to do it.
Osa's not supposed to be in the top 5
Eh,
in pressures. He's not supposed to be.
The dude, I think I said that to you the other day, right? Osa Odighizuwa is number 2 in interior quarterback pressures, not amongst rookies in the
Period.
league. Number 1 is Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald is the only player in the league with more interior pressures than Osa
I think
Odighizuwa
he's
through
at
4
4
weeks.
now. I was
Oh,
listening
maybe
to
there were a
someone
couple
reading
more
it.
that hit
Yeah,
later in the
I think
game, later in the day.
Yeah, but still,
Monday night game or something.
it's not that many,
Either way, it's
and the
insane.
number of pressures
Either way,
is a
it's insane.
tiny, amount
Uh,
too. I mean,
it's
Parsons
nuts.
is leading in pressures off the edge, and he's only
Mm-hmm.
played 2 games at
Right.
defensive end.
Right. Right.
2.
Right. It's nuts, man. It really is. You know, the young guys showing out just gives you a lot of hope for this year, right? You know, I think we're coming closer and closer. You know, I think you said it last week talking about the Cowboys being a top 5 team. You know, I was listening to a radio show a couple days ago, and they were or yesterday they were debating, man, who's better? Like, who would you definitely take over the Cowboys right now?
Yeah, it's a right now question. That's a right now question.
Arizona, Buffalo, but
Right.
Buffalo hasn't really played anybody. You know,
Yeah.
the Chiefs are 2-2.
I don't think anyone has separated themselves as like
Yeah,
absolutely the most dominant, right?
right.
Um,
I
but
just don't think that
the
we really
Cowboys are in
thought
that handful,
right, and I just don't think that most people thought we were going to be having this conversation 4 weeks into the season. That the
right?
Cowboys would be in that group of that, 3 to 6 teams that you're just kind of like, man, there's a case to be made for the best team in the league, right?
Well, and there's the stats, and then there's like how it's going, and
Mhm.
how it's going. It doesn't look like it's going to be stopped easily
Mhm. Mhm.
because it's everything.
Yeah.
The personnel is right, the coaching is right, right? The play calling is right, the execution is right.
Mhm.
These are things that are repeatable.
Sure.
Okay, they're not. If you're winning on some fluky stuff, or yeah, you beat your opponent, but you playing, the cupcake crew, fine. It's like, okay, you're 3-1, but woohoo. I was looking at some strength of schedule metrics. The Cowboys there's only 2 teams that have played a harder schedule to start the season. To start it.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, and the only game they lost, was in their hands to win. So it just it is promising. It's exciting. I mean, it gives you so much hope because go or you hope. You don't know, but you hope going forward that it's just gonna get more just more cohesion, right?
Mhm.
More
Mhm.
confidence and better execution. So I think that it's just I don't know. It's just it feels surreal. Like
Yeah.
I told you, Jarrell. Jarrell FaceTimed me the other day. He's like, the
Yeah,
Cowboys
yeah,
got me so
yeah.
hyped. They got me so
Yeah.
hyped up,
Yeah.
and
Your
it
brothers don't
feels
even watch football like
right,
that.
right. And it's fun to actually, you know, um, be winning, and it looks good, and it feels good, and it looks repeatable. So going
Mhm.
forward, we're looking good. Um, but I want you to tell me about some of those plays you were talking about from Kellen Moore. Um, but first, our boy Juan Gotti.
Yeah,
Our boy Juan
Juanito.
Gotti is in the chat. Let's see. Is it strange that I don't even know our starting lineup on D? To your point, these young guys are fired. Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody, unless you were, and before,
Unless you're a draft nerd like me,
right?
right?
Unless you're a draft nerd, you don't
You don't
know
you
who
don't know
these
you don't know
guys
these
are.
guys like that.
And
Yeah.
even if when the game starts, right? NFL and Fox, they got the starting lineups come up. Osa Odigizу.
Mhm.
Who?
But
I
see,
don't know
that's
who
why
that is.
that's why you tune into your boys, right? Because we're gonna tell you who these guys are.
Right.
¿Qué te pasa, Juanito?
Yeah.
What's ¿Qué pasa in the chat?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know,
What's
and
up, my man?
and again, it's just, this is it, it's 4 weeks in. I ain't,
Mhm.
I'm trying to
Right,
stay
it's
grounded.
early. It's
But it's
early.
like, you can hear the window opening.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
unlocking. Somebody's unlocking it, right?
Well,
Because if you hit and these guys come together on these young contracts. We've seen in the modern NFL
Mhm.
that's the recipe,
Mhm.
right? Now I can make sure that I build a great team around
Right.
my franchise quarterback when he's in his
Right.
prime window,
Mhm.
and it's on the defensive side of the ball. There's some good talent on the offense too, obviously with some young pieces there, but
Some.
it's yeah. Well, I'm just mean on the like younger
Yeah, the
contracts,
young guys. I got you. I got you.
Um, but that's you opening up a nice, what, 2-3 year window,
Mhm.
where you're gonna have a very competitive defense. But the offense, man, it's been shining, and
Mhm.
Dak looks like an MVP.
Man.
But Kellen Moore is the puppet master, and a lot of he does get respect, but a lot of times you hear other coordinators' names being thrown around.
Mhm.
It's because
Mhm.
he's younger, and this, he's just getting the getting this thing going,
Mhm.
here after a few years. But talk about Kellen Moore and just his play calling and why so
Yeah.
much of that success can be attributed to him.
Yeah, I think to your point, not only is it sometimes that you feel like they don't, these coordinators or Kellen in particular doesn't get their flowers. Not only other coordinators that are around the league, but specifically the players, right? Every time we get on here, we talk about Dak did this, Zeke did that, Pollard this, Cooper that, right? Lamb that. We don't really talk about what's going on behind the scenes all that much, unless I'm going on a tirade and yelling at Mike McCarthy about something.
Right, until they do something you don't like.
Yeah, right. So I wanted to do my piece and kind of wrap the show up today by giving Kellen Moore some of his flowers. Because, man, I got to tell you, some of these play calls are just, I mean, if executed properly, they can't be stopped. Like, you can't do anything about it. Specifically, I went back, I got to catch a little bit of some of the all 22 film. Um,
Hmm.
from a couple different streams that I had seen that kind of showcase some of these plays. But man, first of all, what we've seen through 4 weeks from Kellen Moore is that he's going to take what the defense gives him, right? He is going to let you pick your poison.
Hmm.
Are you going to die by 1,000 cuts at the hand of Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard and the short passing game? Or are we just going to go, for big blows all game because you're going to press us up and make Dak throw it over your head? We'll do it either way, right?
Yep.
We've proven that we'll do it. We're going to do, whatever you're going to give us. So that's the first thing that we've seen, pretty consistently. Um, Man, the scheme on some of these routes, though. So touchdown that I was talking about to Jarwin in the
Yeah.
first quarter,
Yeah.
man, if you go back and watch that play, and I was kind of
Yeah.
talking
I
to you
watched the
about it
film
earlier.
on it. Hmm.
Yeah, okay, so I didn't notice it, like, I saw the route combination live, but then I went back and looked at, just watching through some of the highlight plays, some of the all 22, um, and you see coming right off the line, so they're split out on the right side, and you've got Noah Brown, who's up on the line, and then you've got Jarwin, who's off the line, and they're basically in a stack formation, right? Almost one right in front of the other. You've got Noah on the line, and then you've got Jarwin just a little bit offset, but behind him in a
Hmm.
base like a stack formation tight
Hmm.
to the line.
Hmm.
So they snap the ball, and Noah goes straight up the field, right? Like he's going to run a go or a seam route up the middle of the field. Jarwin just kind of trots behind him for a second, right? They get 10, 12 yards down the field, and you've got Noah stacked right on top of Jarwin.
Hmm.
Well, what you see right there, and what we saw from the motion from the backfield, is that it's a man coverage on that play,
Hmm.
right? Which means that if I have stacked receivers, I have stacked defenders. So if Jarwin is running right behind Noah, well, now I have Noah in front of him. Then I have Noah's man in front of him, and then Jarwin's defender behind him,
Hmm.
right? So there's two individuals between Jarwin and his man in man coverage. That's a lot of space in the NFL, right? So once they get to that little 10, 12-yard depth, then you see Noah break to the outside on that little, post
Yeah.
corner flag route.
Right.
When he goes that way, Jarwin immediately comes underneath on that little post towards the middle of the field, and there's just too much space there,
Yeah.
right? The defender can't react. He doesn't have any kind of contact on Jarwin. He's not trailing him closely, and he walks in for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And, again, execution, of course, they have to execute. They got to run the route. They got to throw the ball. But that is all scheme. That
Yeah, it's a
was,
brilliant play call.
yeah, right. Because it is, what do you do, right? You see the man coverage and you got the man beater play drawn up. You go throw a touchdown.
Yeah.
Um, I think when you see the touchdown to Schultz, that's a play that we've become a little bit more familiar with. But again, that's something that we scheme up so often on third and short, second and short. And it's just that little play action, get everybody going to the left, let Dak roll out to his right, and Schultz is wide open right there, for in that little intermediate route. Um, the Yankees just got beat by the Red Sox in the wild card game. So I'm sad now.
Oh.
But I digress. Yeah, I just had a notification on my phone. It's unfortunate.
Mm.
Playoff run ended.
So you notified me.
Yeah, playoff run ended as soon as it started. It's really sad. Anybody that doesn't know, I'm also a Yankees fan, so
Yeah,
I'm
well, you can
gonna
cut
be
that
sad
out
the
now.
rest of the night. But so the Schultz touchdown was nice, and then the Wilson touchdown, another one. Again, that kind of played off of some of these earlier plays to Schultz. So what you see on that one is Schultz go kind of run that little stick and curl route, that little 5-yard stick from the tight end.
Yeah, it's like a peel out.
Right. He runs that little route and you see both linebackers go to him.
They get sucked up immediately.
Right. And then you see, Sed is just kind of settling into the zone right in that little seam, catches it, does the cute little spin move, walks the dog for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that was scheme, right? Because, a play call like that is predicated on what you've done previously and what the defense is now doing to counteract what you've done previously. The other thing that you saw in there was anybody who's a fan of, Dak's little hip drill, right? His little workout drill. Dak hit him so heavy with the hip fake, turned, looking right. I mean, he is staring at Dalton Schultz the whole time. Gets both linebackers going, gives them the little hip movement, and then just comes back inside and throws it, easy touchdown to Sed. Go ahead.
The marriage between play calling and scheme like that and the dedication to the fundamentals. The best quarterback. That's why Tom Brady's still playing at 8,000 years old, because those same things that Dak is doing at an elite level in the pocket, the best pocket passers, that's how they do it. He is seeing exactly the same thing there on the field with Kellen, right? You heard all the praise that's been coming his way about his pre-snap diagnosis, but that's something that we've watched him grow in. Like me and you have specifically watched him flourish as a pre-snap quarterback. And just to see those things all come together.
Yeah.
And it looks effortless, right?
Man, the Coop touchdown had a nice little hip fake too.
Man. And you just that trust, that rhythm, the accuracy too, man.
That was
there's just so much of the Cowboys offense that is not that is like proven. Like those things are going to keep happening. Right? They're going to keep happening because Dak is that good. Kellen Moore is that good. And
the offensive line is that good. The receivers are that good. Running backs are that good.
Yeah, as long as they keep executing like that, who's going to stop? I mean, it's just not the game is designed for elite offenses to dominate the game. And I mean, unless the Cowboys beat themselves,
right?
It's going to be really hard to stop them from scoring 30 points in a game. It's gonna be
hard. One more play to give Kellen his tip of the cap, and then I think I'll be ready to boogie on out of here after that. But the fourth down to end it, and this kind of calls back to the top of the show, right? With where man, I'm very comfortable with a 4th and short. Because that 4th down play to end it, man, that was okay. So 4th and 1, right? And again, this is an opportunity where you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, we're on the other side of the 2-minute warning. They can't stop the clock again. if we convert this first down, the ball game's over.
Yeah.
Or we kick it away,
And
right?
we got to play a meaningful defensive possession.
Right. Because again, to the earlier point, it's a one possession game right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. We're going to give them the ball with time on the clock. So they decide to go for it, which, hey, let's go, baby. I'm here for it. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that 4th-and-1 play that they drew up was just I was mind blown. I was shocked. Absolute awe. Dak goes to his left. Well, he hands to his right, right?
Yeah.
Hands Zeke
Yeah.
to his
Hands to his
right,
right.
runs out to his left like he's going to keep it on a speed option or something
Mm-hmm.
around the left side of the defense. Then Zeke carries it, and you're like, oh, okay, it's just a handoff to Zeke. You got, I don't remember who the defender was, right? But there's one man to beat.
I think it was Burns on the end there.
It might have been Burns on the end,
Yeah.
but there's one man to beat there, whoever that rush end was on that left side of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden you see Tony Pollard just kind of sitting out here in space, right? So now what this play is actually it's not a speed option with Dak, it's a speed option with Zeke. So Zeke is looking at Burns or whoever that is on the edge right there. And if he comes to Zeke, you pitch it to Pollard. If he stays out wide, then Zeke cuts it upfield, right? And should have the first down either way, unless somebody gets off a block.
Mm-hmm.
So defender comes in, crashes on Zeke. As soon as he starts turning upfield, Zeke makes a nice, pretty little pitch out to Pollard. Pollard does his little patented, one-step cut upfield and go, then has like a 3 or 4 yard gain to end the game. And again, that is all play call, design, and then ultimately execution by the players that brings that to fruition. But man, I'm telling you, the mind of Kellen Moore would be a beautiful mind to waste.
It's hard. I won't say it's hard. Yeah, that's right. It's hard to consistently scheme up plays in the NFL where you're getting, read this guy, right? My numbers are correct. So just look here. Here's your play indicator and make the play. It's hard to get those. And there are just, time after time in the block game, in the run game where, and the passing game where we're able to just give a very, straightforward read to the receivers, and the quarterback, or, in that play, in the running backs. I don't know, man. It's just it's fun to watch. It's
Good,
beautiful to watch.
The Jason Garrett era is over.
Your thing.
Kellen Moore's here, baby.
Do your thing, baby. That's it, man. That's all I got. It was a great win.
Yep.
Feeling good in general. Like I said, this Cowboys team was looking, just better than advertised, and that's hard because this is the most sold team in the world, man.
Baby.
It just everything looks great, and I am legitimately excited to see how the rest of the season plays out.
Yes, sir. Week 5, here we come, baby. Appreciate y'all, peeps.
All right, we're out.
We out.